Welcome to this News9 special. Well, what can be considered as a major twist in Karnataka politics, so to say, is that Union Home Minister Amita Tiwari reportedly dialed former Karnataka Chief Minister and Congress leader Jagadish Shettar and held a discussion with him. According to sources close to Shettar, Shah invited Shettar to join the party ahead of the Lok Sabha elections. Shettar, who quit BJP just before the Karnataka Assembly elections after he was denied a ticket from the Hubli-Dharwad Central constituency, joined Congress and also faced defeat. Now, amid the rumours of the Congress expanding its base by inducting leaders from the opposition camp, Shah has reportedly approached Shettar and tried to pacify him to return to the party. Well, that is what is being played out just before the big 2024 elections. However, it is unclear what Shettar could have told Shah. After Shettar joined Congress, both sides fiercely targeted each other. The former CM had directly blamed the BJP General Secretary Organization, BL Santosh, for missing out on the ticket. One of his closest allies within the BJP, that is Yediyurappa, is said to have tried to the last minute to get a ticket for Shettar, which did not happen during the assembly elections. Now, the party wrested Kittur Karnataka and Central Karnataka regions from the BJP in the assembly polls, and that is because we had Shettar in the camp of the Congress, and the Congress did extremely well in these two areas. How will this in fact pan out when it comes to 2024 elections is what we're going to discuss about it. And to discuss more about it, we have with us Vijay Grover, who joins us in the studio. He's the political editor. And then we have Amita Tiwari, political analyst, who joins us also. Vijay Grover, senior journalist, who joins us. And Professor Chambipuranik, political analyst, who also joins us. And also we have Bhaskar Hegde, editor, TV9 Kannada Digital, who also joins us on this. Well, Brijesh, to you, it looks like when we look at a person like Amita Shah, who's very careful even with one seat, it looks like in his calculations, he has understood the impact that Jagadish Shettar might be having on the parliamentary seats in Karnataka. Recently, he had said that Congress will get 15 parliamentary seats from Karnataka. Based on that, you have this, what sources say, a big call coming in from the Home Minister, who is very meticulous with calculations when it comes to Lok Sabha seats. Do you think that is what would have led it?
Well, I completely agree with you, Varghese, because though both sides are denying that no such call has been made and nobody has received this call. One thing is for sure that that 2024 is an extremely important general elections as far as the BJP is concerned, and that is the reason why the BJP is trying to win every single seat possible it can, and it is not going to allow the inner party feud which is there in the state of Karnataka as far as the BJP is concerned, allow to to ruin their chances. And this is the reason why this call to Jagadish Shettar has been made. The fact is that yes, he was a tall Linga leader, he had sway in his constituency. Till last moment, if you remember, Varghese, that that Yediyurappa kept on saying that he has spoken to the top bosses and he has been promised that Jagadish Shettar will get the ticket, but unfortunately it didn't turn out to be that way. And that has, though he may have lost, the BJP claims solace out of the fact that he lost the election, but Congress won the overall assembly election.
Well, when you said he lost the elections, let me get in Bhaskar Hegde. Bhaskar Hegde, you remember when the campaign happened in Jagadish Shettar's constituency, you had Amita Shah, you had JP Nadda, you had the Prime Minister himself, all of them campaigning to defeat Jagadish Shettar in his own constituency, to say that there was a message to be delivered. Though they defeated Jagadish Shettar, at the end of the day, it seems that he is the one who emerged victorious, because at the end of the day, it looks like the BJP couldn't retain Karnataka at all. Now, it seems that he will pay a big price. I mean, the BJP will pay a big price if they don't have Jagadish Shettar in their camp. Is that the case?
Well, this partly agree with you, and what Brijesh said is also right, absolutely. There is one more factor we have to factor in here. See, Hubli-Dharwad, this particular constituency where this Jagadish Shettar comes from, it falls under the constituency of Prahlad Joshi. Prahlad Joshi is a very senior minister and he's very close to Prime Minister as well as Home Minister Amita Shah. And therefore, I think the BJP top brass might be thinking that they want to tighten the loose ends nearing to the parliament elections, and they don't want to allow this seat to go to Congress and send a very bad message to Karnataka politics. I think that could be one of the reasons. Number one. Number two, as you said about he losing the election and Karnataka going to Congress today, I think BJP also might be thinking that they want to win more number of Lingayat leaders on the side before the elections, so that they should not make the same mistake what they did ahead of the assembly elections.
Well, that's interesting enough. Let us also, in fact, get in senior journalist Vijay Grover. Vijay Grover, BJP trying to woo one of their veterans back. Now, I'm trying to also understand this. You have Yediyurappa who's kind of in a kind of a retirement mode, but then being called out of his retirement saying, you know, try to work out something on the ground as fast as possible. But after that, we see a strong Lingayat leadership in Shettar. The BJP could have invested him, but that did not happen. You had Bommai's name also coming into the fray. But after the election, it seems that Bommai doesn't have the kind of clout he could have had among the Lingayats, and it is Shettar that should have technically been at the forefront of things. A call from Amit Shah trying to rectify a mistake, or am I reading too much into it?
Well, see, if you just go back a couple of months and the kind of situation that the BJP was in, there was heavy anti-incumbency against the ministers, the MLAs, and also at the same time, there was a lot of fragmentation of the party leadership. The fact that, the BJP was operating as about 2 or 3 separate camps which were working within the BJP, and that was something which sent very wrong signals to the voters and also to the top brass. Now, Jagadish Shettar at that time quitting may have, been lost in the halabulla of the assembly elections. But the fact is, it is now dawning upon the top brass that, Lingayat votes are very precious, and that is something that they need to retain. And as Bhaskar Hegde very clearly highlighted, the fact that Prahlad Joshi's constituency itself could see a rebellion in case Jagadish Shettar doesn't get back to the BJP, that could be something which could be warning bells, and that is where we are now seeing that in case this call is gone through, and though there are denials, but coming in a week when the Congress was trying to woo a lot of the Congress leaders who had gone to the BJP and are now making a beeline to come back to the Congress, this could be something which could send a message across that if you're trying to get back your leaders, we will also try to get back our leaders. So while no clarity emerges at the moment, maybe a couple of weeks down the line, closer to the elections, we could see something clear happening on this. But there's no smoke without fire, and that is something where we're very clearly seeing the smoke, though we don't see the fire at the moment. But Karnataka continues to be a very important state for the BJP, and it will do anything and everything to ensure that it gets, if not the 25 that it had earlier, at least 20 parliamentary seats out of here if it has to maintain that lead. And that is something where we're seeing that this could be a move in that direction.
Well, also we are joining us is Amita Tiwari, who is a political analyst. Amita Tiwari, we have seen how the BJP has been trying to not to be dependent on regional satraps. The idea of, trying to push Yediyurappa into a retirement board was also part of that idea that let's have the regional satraps out of our way. Jagadish Shettar is technically a regional satrap because North Karnataka is a region where there are huge Lingayat votes, and we did see its impact on the elections. And at the same time, he's a person who had delivered out of the 52 seats, 38 seats is what he delivered when he was with the BJP also. So clearly, regional satraps are important when it comes to, any party as such. But this is not going to be the end of the regional satrap, isn't it? And Jagadish Shettar is someone that they want back because they understand that regional satraps do hold sway over large parts of a state and at the same time can deliver during parliamentary elections. So every vote counts for them, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, regional satraps do have their own importance. Even if you recall 2014 elections, while it was touted as a victory for Modi, there were 3 or 4 regional satraps in BJP. Shivraj Singh Chauhan, Vasundhara Raje, Raman Singh and Yediyurappa himself, who had delivered these 4 states to the BJP at that point of time. So after suffering, I would say, a humiliating loss, because Congress tally is almost double that of BJP, in Karnataka, and the role Jagadish Shettar played in getting the Lingayat votes in the north of Karnataka for the Congress, the BJP might have realized that it needs some sort of accommodation, because see, both the parties have proved their point. BJP proved the point that Shettar cannot win on a Congress symbol, and Shettar proved the point that if he is thrown out, he would decimate, or he would campaign for the Congress, which would lead to the decimation of the party in the north of Karnataka. So it is even Stevens, you may say. So now there could be chances of rapprochement from both sides. Now it depends, because it is more than ego politics or ego of these big leaders. Congress may even pitch Shettar as its Lok Sabha candidate from the seat you are mentioning, Hubli, against Prahlad Joshi. So it all depends upon how the individually Shettar sees his politics or his future in the Congress party vis-a-vis his future in the BJP, if at all he makes any comeback, because BJP is also now devoid of any leadership. You don't have a LOP now for the past 3-4 months. You need a new state president. Yedurappa is on semi-retirement. Bommai has failed, has not delivered. So there is a dearth of leader even in BJP camp. And as you mentioned, Karnataka is very important because they won 25 out of 29 probably in 2019, and they would not want any slippage from here, especially in a case where surveys are showing that Maharashtra and Bihar, they might suffer some losses.
Well, that's interesting enough. Let me get in Professor Chambipuranik also into the discussion. Professor, you've seen how Karnataka politics, sways from one end to the other. A lot of turncoats are there in Karnataka's politics. Nobody is technically, ideologically, they're loyal when it comes to politics on the ground. And when we look at Jagadish Shettar, some touted him as a successor to Yedurappa also at a point because he was that tall Lingayat leader that everyone was looking at. But then there were internal politics that the BL Santosh factor in this because Shettar thinks, and Shettar did point out to the leadership that it was because of BL Santosh that he had lost his ticket and couldn't go ahead. But BL Santosh factor seems to be the issue that came up over here. So any compromise of him coming back would actually see with some kind of trepidance from the BL Santosh camp, because they would be, Shettar of course would be asking for some kind of a big bargain, but that would be at the cost of BL Santosh's authority within the party, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. BL Santosh now by and large, both the party functionaries or workers and also the groups that are there, barring Santosh group, which has got an upper hand from the central high command. I think, Mr. Shettar has been humiliated because he was ex-chief minister, he was leader, he was party founder and original member, So, I mean, to see that the person like Jagadish Shettar, denying one seat, people offered that we will give a seat to your missus. So he was a little, perplexed or surprised or pained, I should say, why they are trying to deny my ticket for that constituency and all that. So I think, that's one thing. Second thing is, I don't think Mr. Jagadish Shettar will leave Congress and go back to like Ghar Wapsi phenomena, which is normal. And that kind of personality Jagadish Shettar is not, because he is better off in Congress, because the sources I spoke or learned that they are trying to offer him not only Lok Sabha seat, which you mentioned or Tiwari ji mentioned, but also he is likely to be the chairman of the Legislative Council. Now, what is it that BJP can offer in the coming 4.5 years of Congress rule? That kind of question is there. So, is he going to be the president of BJP party in Karnataka? No, that is ruled out. So, I think, Mr. Jagadish Shettar, definitely Amit Shah's talking to him must have taken place, and that is denied by Mr. Jagadish Shettar because he wants to be safe in that. So, second thing is he wants to send signals to Congress also saying that, look, my party is asking me to come back and see that the party gets more number of seats in Lok Sabha. Even if Congress gets 10 seats, it will be a big setback for BJP, and also it will confirm that the forces that made Jagadish Shettar, Lakshman Saudi and others to leave BJP and join Congress, it is still proved. So I think BJP has to work itself. As Mr. Hegde mentioned, that regional leaders should not be neglected, and that is the mistake that BJP party high command in its euphoria of Modi phenomena or his personality. Definitely, this time Modi factor is going to be an important factor, along with Mr. Yediyurappa and others. But where are the other Lingayat leaders? Mr. Yatnal is not considered as such a great leader. He is only a person who tries to comment or shoot loose cannons and all that. That kind of personality is there. I think there is a dearth of leadership among Lingayats, and Mr. Santosh and other groups which have tried to sideline the Lingayat leaders one after another, including Mr. Yediyurappa, who wept, and the kind of sympathy he drew, and also the treatment he was given. All that that shows that in the elections, ultimately these are local factors that matter. Even in Lok Sabha also, Karnataka is not an ordinary state, where you can say Modi factor will work and all that. The very fact that Modi himself is aware of this, that by I think asking Mr. Yediyurappa to resign in the middle of the course. If Mr. Yediyurappa had continued, and if he was asked to resign after the elections, perhaps the BJP would have been in power. It would have retained. So that factor is there. But it's very difficult to reach 20. 20 seats if BJP gets, that is the kind of leadership that BJP should look for. Not less than 20.
Right.
If anybody who comes, I think if he brings down the numbers from 20 to 10 or 15, and Congress gets 10 to 15, it will be a big setback for BJP. And also it will prove that leaders like Mr. Jagadish Shettar and Saudi and even Mr. Yediyurappa, who is sidelined, all these factors, that definitely they are going to be in the minds of the people.
Right. Well, I have a bite from Jagadish Shettar that's just come. It's a short bite about this call. Let's listen into it.
ನಮಗೆ ಯಾರು ಸಂಪರ್ಕ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ನಮಗೆ ಯಾರು ಸಂಪರ್ಕ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು
Brijesh, is a very small Kannada bite. He said nobody contacted me. I also didn't contact anyone. So that is how it has been played out. There was no contact at all. Then from where are you making this kind of assumption? But I'm sure before 2024, the BJP did try that experiment, and with a certain thought saying that probably it's time to break away from Lingayat dependence, but that cost them big time, and they don't want to experiment in 2024.
See, one thing, if you are a politician, you will never admit anything on record until unless it happens. We have seen several such cases where, 24 hours before the person is criticizing Congress, BJP leadership, 24 hours later he is accepting the membership. So, I don't attach much value to what is being said. See, the problem which the BJP faced, Varghese, was that it betrayed its own philosophy. If you look at Prime Minister Narendra Modi, all the farmers were sitting on dharna for such a long time. He did not do it. The government didn't do much because they said nothing is going. The second it came close to UP election, the Prime Minister himself, much of his stake was, much of his ego was at stake, his entire paraphernalia was at stake. But he came out and said that, I think, I wanted to do this best for the farmers, but it looks like, they are this happy. So he just went, did away with all the farm laws and all. So this is the kind of ruthless pragmatism the top two of the BJP follows. What I think, what happened was that they decided to do a surgery, and they decided to surgery too close to the election. If they would have done the same thing, say 8-9 months back, then they would have still given some sort of time for the new team to adjust and for them to pick up cudgels and carry forward. It was done too close to the election. And if you remember, Yediyurappa till the very end was saying that, Shettar is going to get a ticket. I have been confirmed by the top man, the number 2, number 3, everybody has confirmed to me. And, it also showed Yediyurappa in poor light, and also showed the top leadership of the BJP in poor light, in the sense that they could not adjust because they felt that, what the other person was doing was so correct that they need not to infer it. Now they have realized that it has boomeranged and boomeranged badly. So 2024 is a very crucial make-or-ma election for the BJP, and they do not want to lose even a single seat which they feel they can win. And this is the reason why, you know, I think in another couple of months you will see these kind of wooing and approaching all those leaders they feel will be important in their scheme of things, gain of you know, a big momentum.
Well, Bhaskar Hegde, you know, I've been following the kind of statements that Jagadish Shettar had been making. He's been hitting out at the BJP saying that you are rudderless, you don't have a leadership in place, you are making all the wrong mistakes, all the wrong, you know, decisions. Your mistakes are in fact being highlighted. It looks like there are several people who are making that beeline to join us. It is going to be a mess in your party. He's been highlighting this for the last, and he also made a statement saying that almost 15 seats the Congress will be able to win in 2024. I don't know how he came up with those numbers, but still he did make that statement. Out of 28 seats to 15, he was said that Congress will make it to it. But in an elections where every number and every seat is going to count, because here BJP is going to go for elections again after 10 years being in the center, it's going to be a tough task. So every seat counts. Lingaites wooing them back, is it that going to be that easy?
Well, this election is particularly different from the assembly election. Assembly election in a constituency, you will have a voter base of 2 lakh, and even a shifting of 10 to 15,000 votes is a very big shift. But say, assuming that even if some BJP leaders, Congress leaders, BJP leaders moving to Congress with the hope that they want to reenact the same experiment what they did in 2023 assembly election in 24, it might be difficult because in a parliament base, it is vote base is between 8 lakh to 12 lakh, and any leader trying to experiment with say 50,000 or 60,000 or that kind of sway is extremely difficult, and which is they did in assembly elections but difficult in parliament election. With this background, I now would like to reply to your question. See, what BJP did, basically, they tried to overestimate or underestimate the clout of these 2-3 leaders like Lakshman Saudi, Jagadish Shettar and many others, number one. Number two, there was a Panchamsali Lingayat movement was going on in Karnataka, which they were demanding for ST status. And if you see the result of 2023 assembly election, the major factor is these 2-3. One is this a large number of Panchamsali Lingayat subsect crossing over to Congress, number one. Number two, these supporters of these leaders like Jagadish Shettar crossing over to Congress. So now when it comes to 2024, I doubt the same experiment can happen. Number one, because Congress has not pacified Panchamsali Lingaites. What I get from the grassroots is basically they are not very happy. I think they, by sheer promises or sympathy, may not help them to vote for Congress, number one. They are very cutter in that sense, social engineering, promises and all those things, that particular group, that Panchamsali Lingayat. So they may, if they shift the challenge, I mean, if they shift the loyalty towards BJP, Congress may find it difficult, number one. Number two, and as we discussed now, BJP would try to get more number of local leaders back. And as a very, very pertinent point that Brijesh highlighted, number one and number two, they don't mind. Even if they want to make amends with many things, including former leaders, as he mentioned about the farm laws, I think BJP would try anything and everything to bring back and keep the voter base intact for 2024.
Well, trying to bring that in. But Amita Tiwari, is it that easy to bring them back? Because see, some of them have called it as a watershed moment, just like how Virendra Patil was, you know, dethroned, Yadurappa being sidelined, or Meja Lingayat leaders being sidelined, was considered to be that watershed moment for BJP. Is it easy to get it out of the memory of a lot of Lingayats when it comes to this aspect? Or is Bhaskar Hegde actually making a very important point with regard to a certain subsect of Lingayats as well. It doesn't matter much when it comes to the 2024 elections, but if it's a watershed moment, then there's a reason for BJP to be worried about, isn't it? Because they already got a taste of it in the assembly elections, and of course, when it comes to Lok Sabha elections, where a lot of things are at stake, it looks like they are determined to get them back. But is that easy as of now?
See, impossible is possible in politics, and as Brajesh said, as Brajesh has said, it is not important what a politician says in front of the camera, it's the words which he has not used. Correct. So, essentially, like you and me, even Shettar has to take a call whether BJP is going to win the 2024 elections or the India Alliance is going to win. Correct. Because if his assessment is that the BJP might win this election, then I don't think there is such a big issue in him making a move or a ghar wapsi back to the BJP, because then he would bargain for, of course, a Lok Sabha seat and a central cabinet ministry. Because as you said, there's nothing for him to do for the next 4.5 years in Karnataka. Correct. So it all depends upon how, as a politician, he feels, or he hedges his bets, or he puts his money on, and what is the sort of bargain he can get from the BJP in this deal. And as Hegde sir has said, see, in Lok Sabha elections, the local issues tend to be downplayed. It is more about the national issues. Now, in the Lok Sabha election, in Karnataka, the Modi factor in 2019 was fairly strong. Nationally, it was some 32%, meaning 32% people who voted for the BJP voted in the name of Modi. In Karnataka, the number, if I recollect correctly, was 53%. So the Modi factor is fairly high here, which means that the leadership battle is fairly important. So it all depends upon what sort of deal the BJP is able to offer to Shettar. And BJP is a very practical party. It can take back, or it has in the past, and we've seen in UP, taken back leaders like Dara Singh Chauhan, and even a very small party like SBSP is back into the alliance, because they know that these players could tilt some votes in favor of the party in some pockets, which could be crucial in a very tight election. And as you've seen, the mood of the nation is showing only a 2% vote share gap between the NDA and the INDIA alliance. So each and every seat is fairly important. And one last point is that in any party, on the point of BL Santosh, in any party, the mass leaders hold prominence over the people who make the strategy. Even earlier in BJP, if you see Vajpayee Advani era, Vajpayee Advani were more prominent than strategists like Jaitley or Pramod Mahajan. But if the strategists start calling the shots in the party, let's say, for example, BL Santosh in Karnataka, then this is the result you get. And that is what probably is also happening in the Congress, where there are many strategists, but very few mass
That's a very
leaders.
important point made by Amita Tiwari. Very important point.
Well, interesting enough, let's go to Professor Chambipuranik. Chambipuranik, with the situation that is there in the BJP right now, of course being called leaderless and rudderless, and they don't have a leader of opposition also in place. I mean, that is the level at which the BJP has been undecided when it comes to Karnataka. 2024, who's going to pick up the battle? Are they going to rely on Yediyurappa to get the local units back on track, or it looks like a stick from Amit Shah is what requires, because there's hardly any kind of party discipline when it comes to the Karnataka unit of the BJP right now?
Yeah, I think, I would still, bet on Mr. Yediyurappa, because Yediyurappa's image still is intact. I don't think the voters or the electorate will reject him or his appeal along with Modi. And as Mr. Tiwari mentioned, out of 53% of votes which NDA commands, I don't think it will come down. But my only, can say, doubt is whether the Congress will get 10 or 12 seats. That's the maximum that Congress can try for it. Because Congress also is, I mean, it's a fluke, It's the lapses of BJP has landed Congress into power. The freebies and the guarantees and all that. Now people are slowly realizing that this kind of gimmickry or the kind of tentative offers and all these things, they are all not so substantial to keep the voters happy also. I think the euphoria of this freebies and guarantees will die down. And I would still say that without Mr. Jagadish Shettar coming, or unlikely, I don't think Mr. Jagadish Shettar will immediately tarnish his image once again. Already his image has been tarnished because he was a tall leader in the BJP and he has joined Congress. Congress has not offered anything except the chairmanship of the Legislative Council, which I was told that that's the one thing that they can offer. Even Lok Sabha seat, I don't think Mr. Jagadish Shettar will ask for it. But the problem is, Modi factor is still an important factor in Karnataka. And let us not think that Congress is going to sway and all that. And maximum Congress can reach is more than 3 to 5 seats. That's what I am saying. Because if Mr. Yediyurappa and the supporters of Lingayat group, along with Panchamsari, which Mr. Hegde mentioned about the tactical kind of move that the seers or the followers of that community or subsect are taking, I think it is going to be in favor of BJP by and large. I think it will have a bigger margin, but may not be 25. That's why I said, if Congress gets more than 5 or 6 votes, seats, it will be a big victory for Congress. Congress also knows that it is very difficult right now to go to Lok Sabha with the popularity and the kind of leadership that Mr. Modi has shown to the entire country and outside the country also. So people of Karnataka are not, ordinary people. They are quite mature. They know, where to vote, whom to opt for and all that. So these swing votes, that kind of thing that may not happen in Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha still is in favor of BJP, but BJP, unfortunately, the remote control like Santosh and other people should lie down and they should only think of making the party strong at the grassroots level, not tamper with or interfere in such leadership changes or allotment of seats. So even if Santosh group tries to recommend few people and all that, that should be taken with a pinch of salt by the people at the helm of affairs. But Yediyurappa and Mr. Modi factor, and also the kind of disillusionment that people are going through the Congress, the 100 days of Congress rule, I think these are all factors which Karnataka voters will definitely weigh. I think BJP may lose about 5-6 seats, but it will definitely, because of Mr. Modi, Yediyurappa and many others who have already been seen that what kind of rule that Congress is capable of giving, because India is not that popular in Karnataka also. It's even outside Karnataka also, the prime ministership, already there is a kind of fight between this prime ministership. Who is going to be the prime minister? Congress has said Rahul Gandhi is our leader, the UP, the state which gives largest number of seats. So therefore, I think the disunity of India and the kind of amendments or the kind of corrective measures that BJP takes in Karnataka, I'm sure, I think BJP can hope for about 20 seats at least, and also see that the Congress also will be taught a lesson by the voters that by these gimmicks you are not going to stay in power long. So that is the kind of thing. As Mr. Hegde mentioned, the Lok Sabha elections is a different scenario. Whatever may be the factors, but leadership matters. Definitely regional leaders count. And Yediyurappa is still a tall leader. People know he is the one who brought BJP from 2 seats to power twice. In that kind of contribution, I don't think any other tall leader in BJP has done it. So if Mr. Yediyurappa is still there, I think they should go with Mr. Yediyurappa and Modi factor, which are the main factors or the kind of appeal to voters that will definitely give BJP a big support in 2024 election. That is how I assess.
Well, okay, Mr. Brijesh, after going through a guess, you realize that Yediyurappa is one person you can't write off. You are calling him out of retirement, you are sending him back to retirement, but the fact remains is that Yediyurappa is the one who actually has been able to handhold the BJP in Karnataka. So this, early shift to this Margdarshak Mandal in a certain way or a semi kind of a way, I don't think so. That's actually what is going to work when it comes, because now when we speak to experts, we understand that he is a huge factor. It also speaks about Yediyurappa and also the fact that they don't have a leadership after him.
I would like to borrow what Amitabh said 5 minutes back. Like, it was a very good line that, when you allow the strategist to call the shot and allow a strategist to make a strategy which rides roughshod over somebody who has a proven track record, this is the kind of problem you find yourself in. The fact is that if you have developed a good leadership which rivals that of Yediyurappa and has a big command, and allow Yediyurappa to ease away on his own, you have to treat him differently than you used to treat other. This 75 years you get retired to Margdarshak Mandal is basically a scheme where you park all your enemies. It is not like, it's cast in stone, because otherwise tell me, if this is cast in stone, then how do you explain the given ticket to Mr. Metroman E. Sridharan in Kerala? Is he less than 75 years of age? So basically this is like, where you park all your political adversaries and enemies and everybody into one thing, that enough is enough, now you enjoy it. Now what has happened is that BJP has lost the state election because of committing this surgery too close to the challenge. Now what they have done is that they have antagonized the Lingayat community. They have made a khichdi of the kind of decent existence the party had by allowing the strategists to become more powerful than the chief minister. Your desire to replace Yediyurappa has actually become so, it's an obsessive relationship where you are doing more harm to the party in your own credit rather than getting the good out of it. The problem is that the BJP has to realize that what happens, it's like not one size shoe can't fit all. What happens in Gujarat can only happen in Gujarat. Because people there, majority several other places they also vote for Modi, but in Gujarat people vote just for Modi. So you remove the entire cabinet, no effect is seen on the ground. But that is not there for every other state. Every other state has a completely different context to it. Lok Sabha, yes, they might agree with it, but Vidhan Sabha and all, they have their local leadership to look to. So I think this entire bodged up plan which was put into place, and now you have to again reach out to those very people. You retire Yediyurappa, but for God's sake use that time to find a better leader or cultivate a leader who can take his place. Look at the example of Bihar. Bihar for such a long they were dependent on Nitish Kumar. That Verghese today, right now, one of the biggest problems the BJP is facing is to find a leader which can rival that of Nitish Kumar. And there is no acceptability as far as various groups are concerned.
Same situation over here. I think Bhaskar Hegde will agree with me, or probably I think Bhaskar Hegde, being very close to the ground, would have also a different take on this. Bhaskar Hegde, I think there is no one to replace Yediyurappa right now. You become too over dependent on him, and pulling him out of retirement for the assembly elections also showed that how much of dependency you have on him. So is there a possibility that you can get a leader rivaling that of Yediyurappa or replacing him? Of course, the big question has been also the question of dynasty, because Yediyurappa was also trying to ensure that his son was given a comfortable place within the BJP as well.
Verghese, you are right. Just to add to what Amitabh and Vijay said, just to give a kind of, the grassroots level situation thing. There are 2 points. One is recently when they realized that they could not, the party high command was not very eager to appoint a LOP. What they locally did is they held a meeting and they made Yediyurappa the kind of chief informally to lead the party to take important decisions, even though Nalin Kumar Katil is the state unit president. This is a very big development happened a month back, number one. Number two, what Amitabh and Vijay said is very crucial and very interesting in the Karnataka's context is what B.L. Santosh had done ahead of assembly elections was he basically dropped his supporters and basically backroom boys as district presidents and Morcha presidents and so many presidents, and in everywhere from state level to district level to taluk level, the strategists and these people who take care of office, they have been made the president of district unit and state president, not the popular leaders at the local level. This is one of the major factors which no one highlighted in this particular analysis, that why Karnataka BJP had lost so bad. Because see, Karnataka BJP is one experiment where BJP made a big blunder, where BJP brought in more backroom boys as district unit presidents and everywhere, even the assembly candidates, than the real heroes and the real politicians and the popular leaders. This is the reason why BJP lost so badly. I think BJP may not have a leader to replace Yediyurappa as of now and in the near future. They have to go with Yediyurappa and they have to take care of him and his interest also, more importantly, so that he can contribute more to the party for the 2024.
So how is this also trying to, we all think, speculate, trying to woo Shettar? Is it also kind of a stopgap arrangement that the BJP is trying to look at when it comes to Yediyurappa? Because you have Shettar replacing Yediyurappa at certain levels, they do get some kind of time to set their house in order. So right now, is it kind of a stopgap arrangement that also they're looking at when it comes to Shettar?
Verghese, I try to have a different point of view from yours. See, there is one problem, because Shettar had held opposition leader post and state unit president, everything in the past as state BJP, and his performance lackluster. He was not up to the mark in that sense. It was a kind of, I would not use the word flow, it was basically anti-BJP vote has shifted to Congress, as Professor Chambipuranik said. And in this context, when we see 2023 and see Mr. Shettar, we think that Shettar is a very big leader and he can fill the shoes of Yediyurappa. I think it is very highly unlikely that Shettar would replace Yediyurappa in the stature and everything to woo Lingayat vote base. Shettar can do a kind of help for BJP if he comes back in very few constituencies, say for instance Hubli, Dharwad and surrounding constituencies. But he cannot run the party and he can win more number of seats in parliament in 2024. It's very highly unlikely, I think.
All right, highly unlikely. Professor Chambipuranik, of course, one thing that I wanted to ask is that, you know, when the Lingayats, a particular sect of the Lingayats is now asking for reservation under the ST category, you know, the Lingayats as a whole was asking for another sort of a reservation which did not happen because the courts had intervened. So how does that politics actually play out right now? Because none of the big parties are actually giving any sort of, any sort of an assurance that it will be taken care of. Because if one is given under ST status, what about the rest of them? How would they in fact find themselves? Because they have also been asking for reservation. So Lingayats as a whole, how will this sectarianism within Lingayats affect if one sector is inside the ST category, the other sect is maybe put into another category? So this categorization of reservation also could affect the community, isn't it? I mean, the internal politics within the community.
Yeah, I agree with you, because I know these things closely, like Mr. Hegde. In Karnataka state politics, the subject factor, where the Panchamasalis are demanding a separate reservation status from my ST category, I think it will be opposed by Congress. I don't think Congress will definitely allow it also. And Congress has no great preference for Lingayats. Shettar is made MLC and he may be made chairman maximum. I don't think MD Patil or anybody has a kind of a clout which Mr. Yediyurappa commands. Even among Panchamsali Lingayat leaders, they know that Mr. Yediyurappa, who can influence the center if there is any kind of status for reservation or special SOPs from central government, which has to finally approve and all that. I don't think, as on today, Mr. Siddaramaya's government, my only
Mr. Puranik, I'm asking the larger debate on that reservation. The larger debate on that reservation, because the Lingayats have been looking for a reservation category, and then within that, a subsect is demanding a separate category of reservation. So that itself is table for politics.
Yeah, I agree with you. This the majority of Lingayats in Veerashaiva Lingayat kind of category. There is also another group which says that Veerashaivas are not Lingayats, only the Basaveshwara, the post-Basaveshwara 12th century onwards, people who follow the whatever Lingayat dharma and the rituals, they are the Lingayats. So when there is a division among Lingayats, it's only Mr. Yediyurappa who is capable of bringing all the subsects together. But I don't think Congress will do it. And BJP cleverly did it also by bringing them under a different category than ST and all that. But there will be opposition even from among the BJP supporters, the OBCs and others who are there, they are also demanding for it. So therefore, Panchama Sali's demand is only for a kind of, political strategy. That's all. They want to be politically strong in Karnataka, saying that, they are the people who are, trying to, support BJP or any party like that. I don't think Panchama Salis will support Congress party, nor Congress will do it. The problem with Siddaramaiah is, he is trying to consolidate ST, OSC votes plus the OBC votes. Siddaramaiah's concentration is only for OBC's 2024 election. So, keeping that in mind, Mr. Varghese, your question of saying Lingaites are divided, and I don't think they will go with Congress in Lok Sabha as they went with Congress originally in Karnataka Assembly elections. So, I don't think, still, I agree with Mr. Hegde when he said that Mr. Yediyurappa is a factor. Whether he is going to be Chief Minister or not, that is a different issue. But if he had continued as Chief Minister, probably BJP would not have this humiliation. The kind of strategist humiliating a tall leader and all. So that kind of wound is there among Lingaites. That our tallest leader has been hurt by the strategist, not the people of Karnataka. So therefore, they have shown them a lesson. So I think the Lingaites, by and large, are still with the BJP.
Well, Mr. Puranik, that's all the time that we have for our show right now. But thank you for, in fact, joining us. Thank you, Amita Tiwari, as well as Bhaskar Hegde, and thank you, Brijesh Pandey, for also giving us insight. Well, it is a very difficult aspect on this issue as well. It is not easy to understand Karnataka because Karnataka has its own differences, its own diversities to, in fact, add up when it comes to politics. But that's all the time that we have right now. On the other side, well, stay tuned. More on News9. There's several documentaries lined up, and also keep a tab on what's happening across the country as we bring you the news beyond the news on News9.
China won't let us rest easy on our borders, but they will keep flooding our markets. What does Xi Jinping really want?
I think he wants the Indian market, no doubt about it. It's really a matter of showing their dominance.
India's great Chinese conundrum.
Nobody can contain it. Not the United States, not China, not anybody else.
Frenemies. Streaming now.
Gautam Adani, one of the richest men in the world, or a business honcho, accused of manipulating the market.
अदानी जी 609 नंबर से दूसरे नंबर तक कैसे पहुंचे? सिर्फ एक सवाल पूछा, नरेंद्र मोदी जी, आपका अदानी जी से रिश्ता क्या है?
He has given the space, the railways, the airport, which he has no experience also. So the country's interest has been compromised.
Government has been very clearly supporting few industrial groups, including Adani's industrial group.
Target Adani, streaming now.
With all this gear, you must be wondering if I'm climbing a mountain.